what's up? And welcome back to another episode of the Straight Shooter Recruiter. However, today is not your regular episode. I am truly hanging out with someone that I look up to, that I am inspired by, and that I am so excited to have on this show. Today, we are chatting with the Tracy Moore. Now, I already know, you know who she is. She is the queen of Cityline. She is fantastic on the internet, constantly talking about how she is a kick-ass mom, businesswoman, promoter of motivation and positivity, and all around is such a light and such a powerhouse. I am so excited to talk about her career in journalism, give you some awesome tips, as well as some motivation so that you can overcome imposter syndrome. Oh my gosh, Tracy, I am so excited to have you on the show today. I truly cannot thank you enough for your time.
I'm so excited that I was invited to be a part of this. So I'm thrilled with the work you're doing, the confidence that you're passing down to women and men that are watching your work. So happy to be here.
Thank you. The feeling is so mutual. Oh my gosh. And I promise we'll share and plug all of your amazing socials, and we'll get into all of that as we go through. But oh my gosh, you are truly a one-woman powerhouse. Like everything from how to be a killer mom, you share amazing jokes online, great confidence and personal development tips. And of course, you're kind of a big deal, ma'am. You are all over the television. I was telling you before we started recording, my mom is literally a super fan. I wouldn't be surprised if she's listening to this episode with like a t-shirt that has your face on it. So I'm so jazzed for us to be spending some time together. And I think today's episode is going to be all kinds of valuable. And the recruiter in me has to know. Tell me a little bit about your career. For folks who might not know you, who is Tracy? What are some of the exciting things you've been up to? And you better believe I'll have some questions for you once we've wrapped this part up.
So it was I would say a weird trajectory. And it was it was very up and down in terms of me getting into this industry. So the beginning part is normal, master's in journalism, did an internship, super shy, like I was felt very mediocre in the newsroom. People were like, "You were shy?" I'm like, "Yeah, I was shy." Just because I felt very sort of overwhelmed by the being in the real newsroom world. And then after like a weird encounter with a reporter I was supposed to be shadowing, she didn't want like my energy. And I kind of understood because I was being like a little bit weird. I was I met a girlfriend, and my girlfriend was like what's the problem? And I was like, well, I don't know where anything is. I don't know what I'm supposed to be doing. I feel like I'm in the way as an intern. And I don't want to ask questions. And she's like, why don't you want to ask questions? And I said, because I feel dumb. And she's like, you are dumb. You're an intern. The whole point is for you to learn. Go tell people your name, ask them things, ask them where the washroom is, ask them how to write a script, ask them stuff. Like, this is your time to be stupid, so you learn. This is how my girlfriends are with me. So
I love them already. I need like 17 of them.
Right? So still my like close girlfriend to this day. And it really did start to change things for me. I started to talk to people, probably started to annoy the hell out of people, but I introduced myself to people. And at some point, that introduction became my first real journalism job, which was at CBC. I was assigning the camera crews. I was terrible at it. It would be like, oh, there's a rollover at 401 and Kennedy, and I would send a camera guy that like lived in Peterborough, and he'd be like, what are you doing? I was terrible at it. I wrote all the guys like handwritten letters. So I was like, I know I suck, but I'm going to get better. And they were patient with me-ish. Anyways, I was like, I need to get into the newsroom. So I started talking to people in the newsroom, and I was like, I need to get from assigning the camera crews to be like out in the streets with a camera crew. And they were like, well, if you want to go in the newsroom, you got to start at the bottom. You have to be an editorial assistant. So basically, as an editorial assistant, I got that job. I was making photocopies, printing off the scripts for the anchors and handing them to the anchors. Like with my BA and my master's, this was my new job.
Wow.
And in between doing all of that, you know, like sort of bottom feeder work, and I took it very seriously, I would pitch my own story ideas to the local news show within CBC. They ignored me most of the time. After a while, they were like, this girl is bothering us a lot. And they came around to where the editorial assistants were. They said, who is Moore T? Because that was my address, my messaging address. And I said, it's me. And they said, okay. And then they kept walking. And then 9/11 happened. And what happened was they ran out of reporters, and they threw me the keys to one of the CBC vans. And I went out there to collect streeters is what they're called, but like interviews from people at the US consulate. And that was the beginning of my reporting career. So fast forward 3 years at CBC, I got picked up by a local private station called Toronto One, which also lasted for 3 years. They ran out of money. I auditioned to be on CP24, which was all under the umbrella of City TV at the time. They were like, we don't have no jobs. And then they were like, oh, yes, we found a job. I was a live reporter on breakfast television for 3 years. Then I got pregnant. Marilyn Dennis was leaving her show behind because there was a City TV was being sold. And so a news director asked me to audition to host Cityline. And I was like, why? Like, I was such a news girl. I was like, why would I do lifestyle? Like, they talk about furniture. And she was like, well, I think that you would be good. I was like, where's she getting that? And so anyways, I went home to my husband, and my husband's like, yo, this is a good opportunity. Like, think about it. We are a young family. We don't have any money. We have to make meals on a budget. We've got to like figure out a wardrobe after you have the baby. Like, he was like a pitch man
He
for
was your
Cityline.
cheerleader. Yeah, 100%.
Yes. He got me hyped. So I went back and I'm like, yeah, I'm going to audition for Cityline. So I did that audition for 3 months during my mat leave, and I got the gig. And that's like,
Wow.
there were so many little things in between there, but it was a circuitous route to get to be hosting Cityline. And this has been like the best gig ever. It's been amazing.
Oh my God, I have so many questions I want to ask you, but I have to start off with the obvious, because I think this is what people are going to be asking about the most, is how did you stay motivated when people were telling you no and frankly ignoring your ideas for like the big bulk of your early career? Like, how did you stay resilient through that? Because I know me, and girl, I would say I give up. So how did you do that?
I had a big well of excitement in me for that whole journey. And I think that's the part that I'm really thankful for, because I had horse blinders on. Like, I felt so excited to be an intern at CTV. I felt so excited to be in the CBC newsroom. Like, I felt like, oh my gosh, I'm actually doing what I learned in school. I'm here. And there's like, you can count the Black people on one hand. So this is like a very privileged position for me to be in. And I never forgot that for a second. I don't even forget that now. And I've been doing television for 20 years, but the rooms I have access to, the doors that I have open for me, it would be so stupid for me to waste these opportunities. And so that excitement sort of kept me going. And I'd get kicked down and beaten down, and I'd be like, that's fine, I'm just gonna get up. Because if not me, and this is what my girlfriend told me as well, if not me, then who? It's gonna be somebody else. Why shouldn't it just be me?
100% put that on a t-shirt. You need to trademark that immediately. Okay, so I also have to know, did you always know you wanted to land in television? Like, it sounds like the news piece was always a huge passion point. Did you know that that was the area you wanted to devote your career to? Or did the television side, was that kind of just a byproduct of you wanting to focus on the news-based segments?
Well, it wasn't so much about being on TV. For me, it was more about journalism. So when I was and I'm going to go right back to high school, because my grade 11, grade 10 English teacher was everything to me, Miss Holding. And she knows this. I've told her a million times. I featured her on the show, but she was the one that took my writing and my presentation skills and she put them together. And she said, there's something here. So I would do an independent study unit, say in grade 10, and I was teaching myself about Black history because it was not part of the curriculum at all. And she would invite, like, this is peak nerd, by the way. She would invite other classes to come in and listen to my presentation with my class because she knew I liked to present. She knew I liked to write essays. So she took me aside and she was like, what do you want to do? And I said, I don't know. I said, I really like to write. And I said, but I don't know what to do with writing. I don't want to write books. And she's like, no, there's politics, there's law, there's journalism.
Mm-hmm.
She's like, go do a political science degree. Go do a general political science degree and feel your way and volunteer. And so that's what I did. And so when I got into university, I volunteered at the university radio station, and I liked radio. That's what I really wanted to do. So I knew I wanted to do something broadcasty because there is the presentation part of it, but it definitely wasn't television. And then when I ended up going to do my master's, I I ended up getting my internship at a TV station. And so that kind of determined me going in that direction. And then in like this really gross moment, because people in my master's program remind me, they're like, Tracy, you told everybody you were going to have your own show. I'm like, ew, I was that girl.
What a walking advertisement for the power of great mentors in your life. Like, even as early in your journey, you can hardly even call it a career when you're in school, right? Like the fact that, your teacher saw this spark in you and saw this talent and took the time to nurture that and help you explore what career might look like. I remember when I was younger too, I had no sense of career direction, and it was people pointing me and saying, you're good at XYZ. Like, have you considered a career here? And I think, especially for folks listening who are either feeling stuck in their careers or not sure what's next, there's no shame in saying that. Like, there's no shame in connecting with people who want to help you succeed and grow and who might open your mind to possibilities or career paths or, different roles that you never considered previously. Like, it's all about the power of your network and having people who are saying your name in rooms that you're not in. So I just got goosebumps thinking about how profound that, that relationship with your teacher must be. And you two still keep in touch, which is fantastic.
Yeah, I agree 1000% with everything you said there, Emily. You need people that can see things in yourself or just refine them. You know who you are, but sometimes it takes an outsider to be like, "No, but this is what you're good at, and this is what I like about you, and this is what I feel from you." And it's why I'm so into teachers. I'm so into teachers because a good teacher can make a person, and the bad teacher can also make a person. So I love my teachers. I had really good teachers.
Well, I think also in a lot of ways, you are like a teacher and representative, especially of so many young women, and particularly like when I think of young Black women who aren't seeing them
Mhm.
represented on, mainstream news anchors hosting these massive, massive shows with massive reach. And when you look back, are there things that you wish you knew earlier in your career, kind of knowing where you are now? And really, like, what would that advice be for that young woman or that young person looking to have a career that looks and feels like yours now?
I didn't understand um, why everyone was telling me that I was going to have to get mean. And it's funny because
Interesting.
my sister's 4 years older than me, and she's like, "Well, you are mean. You're perfect for this." I was like, "Simone, I'm not mean. I'm mean
Simone,
compared to
you're
her. She's
yes.
an
I would.
angel."
Oh my gosh, but we're supposed to be mean to our siblings. I'm convinced both of my brothers think I am like the devil incarnate. And I'm like, you just see the nasty side. Like, there is a nice side here. So,
Right.
Simone, we love you. You're
Oh,
entitled to that
Simone.
opinion. You're nice, Tracy.
Yeah, so especially when I got Cityline, everybody's like, "Oh, you got to put your bitch pants on, and you're gonna have to tell people the way you want things done." And oh, I was so at odds with how I was supposed to be, and I was very I had to go through many sort of iterations of figuring out how to be myself within this very public facing space. What I wish I had was someone who said to me that leadership, which is what I understand now, leadership can take so many different forms. You do not have to bang fists on a table. You can be collaborative. You can lead with empathy. You can cry. You can be vulnerable. You can expose your heart and you can still lead with all of that. So it was very confusing for me because I did not see that leadership modeled for me. So I
Mm.
didn't know that I could be that in this really kind of gross cutthroat industry, but that is what I'm doing. And it's who I am. And I feel like it's working. So it would have been nice to have that validation a little bit earlier in my career.
Oh my gosh, I think it's working is the understatement of the century. Absolutely, it's working. And I think it comes down to, and I think about folks who are maybe looking towards a career in, finance or law or these areas where we have this mindset where you have to be like the mean and the nasty and you have to, demand what you want in order to get that. I love that you've called out like leading with empathy is a strength too. And I would argue for folks listening, if your employer, if your boss, if the people in your network aren't championing kindness first or empathy first as a mindset or as a core value, either you take that upon yourself to lead and to kind of champion or find spaces that are going to honor you. Like, there are organizations positions and career paths out there who are going to see the Tracys of the world who lead with empathy and innovation and thinking about their customers and their, how they feel and how that impacts the world around them as a big positive and not as this like negative, side piece or this negative like byproduct of someone's experience at a company. So I absolutely love that. And I'm not surprised that was the advice you hear. I think especially a lot of women in business, a lot of women in production hear that, and also get punished even more for having, a bit of a stern approach or being a bit more direct in ways.
Absolutely. And I mean, that can work for them if that's their personality. It's just not really mine. I don't let people walk all over me either, but I think I know how to put boundaries up without being a dick.
Amen to that. Another t-shirt. I'm just going to make this whole episode titled what a list of things you should put on a t-shirt. That's what it's going to have to be. Okay, so for someone who's looking to break into journalism other than being like ready to rumble with really good t-shirt quotes, what advice would you give them to? Like what would you say is a good place for them to start investigating what a career in journalism might look like?
It's changed a lot. And so anybody who looks at traditional, what they call legacy media, I tell them go for it, but do your own digital thing. If you want to be on radio, have a podcast. If you want to be on TV, have a YouTube channel, an Instagram channel, have your own TV station, because that is now where we are finding people to be on legacy broadcasting. Like we look for experts on Instagram, like
Mm-hmm.
so have your own thing. If you are interested in doing print journalism, have a blog, have a newsletter, have a place that is you. Personality these days is everything. It always has been, but not as much as it is now. So I think that you have to bet on yourself. You have the opportunity now with social media to actually build your own audience from scratch. And if people start to see that what you're giving out is something that a lot of people want to be a part of, then everyone in your industry gets to see that. So you actually have the opportunity to build yourself up from scratch in a way that we were not able to before the digital era. Um, and then for journalism and media, a lot of it is guts. A lot of it is asking the very simple question that for some reason a lot of reporters or journalists don't want to ask these days. Like, ask why. Why is this happening? Right now, we have a plethora of over information. We need people that can bring things right down to its simplest form and really explain to people, cut through the noise and give them the facts and the information, like the basics that we all need. So all of those things, the curiosity, but just don't get caught up in like trying to keep up with the Joneses. Be who you are and lean on the traits that make you who you are within the broadcasting world, because that's how you're going to stand out.
I absolutely love that. And I hear that all the time from a social side of things as well. People are like, well, I'm not going to post online. There's 1,000 other people in my niche, but there isn't you. And I think you owning the essence of your personality or your expertise, like that's the game changer.
Then people know who you are. They know who you are. They want to work with you. Maybe they want that energy in their space, right? So I think that it's important to take advantage of those opportunities because listen, the platforms are out there. Get on them and use them to your advantage. Like you're doing.
$1,000%.
You have amazing content out there. And we're learning who you are, but we're also getting all of the tips that we need if we want to be thriving in the workplace. So do that with your social media. Do what Emily does.
Well, thank you so much. I want that on a t-shirt too. Honestly, I was terrified. Like when I first started posting, I was convinced. I was like, okay, my employer is going to fire me now because I'm posting about how to negotiate and ask for more money. And when they
Yeah.
saw it and I reached out and was like, hey guys, something's happening on the internet. I hope it's okay. They were so unbelievably supportive. And now it's actually a part of my job. Like I get dedicated time in my work week to focus on my socials. And that's because I just took a risk. And so many companies are like that today. So don't let the fear of things not working out outweigh the joy that things working out will bring. So I think that's killer advice. And you did say something just a few questions ago, Tracy, that really stood out to me in terms of like imposter syndrome. I know we didn't use that word, but you had mentioned there were some rooms you were in early in your career where you were like, oh my God, am I supposed to be here? I don't know anything. How did you work to overcome that imposter syndrome? And I don't know if it's something you still face at times, but if so, how do you kind of work to overcome that crippling feeling of, oh my gosh, am I really qualified to be doing this?
Yeah, it was a lot of self talk and a lot of why not you and why not you. And actually, you're here. So everybody's here for a reason. Everybody's here because they knew something, somebody, or everyone's here because they have some of the credentials. That applies to you too. You're here because you either knew somebody or somebody took a chance on you, or you have the credentials. So that stuff kind of has to be put aside so you can just get to the business of doing the work. But it's a conversation I've had so many times with myself. It was really the pandemic that I feel started to switch things for me. I started to really see, I don't know what it was. It was almost like the pandemic, the proliferation of Black Lives Matter, um, all of this conversation about systems being dismantled, which is work I had been doing since the 10th grade. Because as I said, I was trying to teach myself about my own history. But all of that has really led me to believe that a lot of the systems that are in place are absolutely a scam. And people are running them that have no business being there. I could be there or they could be there. It could be any. I could be a CEO. I could be a prime minister. I could do
And
it.
probably you
I
should
could do
be.
it. I could do it. Like, I don't want to do it, but I could do it. Like, I really do believe that we've been fed a lie thinking that there are, these people that are in these upper echelons that know a ton more than we do. I don't think so. I don't buy it anymore. So I think we can learn. I think that we can get there. I think that we can study. I think that a lot of us have the potential to get to wherever the hell we want to get to. And that has really sucked all of the energy out of imposter syndrome for me.
Comparison is the thief of joy, and like it really just swipes it from you. And it's so true. I think especially for me, I always used to think positive affirmations and positive self-talk, I thought it was all like foo-foo BS, you know? So not the case. Like how you speak to yourself chemically, and science shows us it alters your brain pathways. So if you're constantly telling yourself, I'm not qualified to be in this room, I'm not the brightest person here, I'm not someone who's going to have change, my opinions don't matter, you're forcing yourself to believe that. So starting off by rewiring how you speak to yourself can make such a huge impact. And to your point, like focus on the lane you are in. Even if you've got 100 other people in the same field as you doing the same things, nobody's doing it like you. Like, what are your goals? How are you focusing on your growth and your potential? And I would even add to that by saying, for me, surrounding myself with people who see good things in me, especially on days where maybe I don't see great things in me, it makes a difference. So if your circle is not one that's uplifting you and giving you, the pep talk that you even had, Tracy, of like the you're taking this job, don't be crazy, and ask some questions, don't be crazy. Like those are the people we need to pull us out of those maybe not so great days. Another thing I think that people love about you and I've loved about you is you are just so fun. Like the energy you bring online, the energy you bring to your show, like you are just the kind of gal I'm like, let's go grab, a nice coffee or a stronger beverage, after work. But I can imagine coming from another extrovert, sometimes that's a wee bit exhausting. Like you have this moment of, oh my God, do I have to be on any further? How do you balance being, this amazing personality, but also not burning out? Like, do you have methods in place to help kind of keep you in check?
Yeah, I'm militant about my boundaries and my self care, but it's funny because when I get home from work, I used to come home to an empty house. That was in the pre pandemic days. Those days are over. I came home today. My daughter's home because she's been ill. My husband's home because he works from home. And I come home and I'm silent. And Leo will be like, "What happened to the fun, happy girl that I see on the TV?" And I'm like, "She's dead." Because like I gave it all. I went to the gym at 5 in the morning. My job is social. Like my job is so social and it's good. It's a good fit for me. But there's audience members, there are guest experts on the show. And sometimes they need to be built up. Sometimes they're feeling
Mm-hmm.
nervous. Sometimes they just want some of my energy and that's going to help them perform better. And then it's television. It's very interdependent. We have to talk to each other. You're talking to the audio person, you're talking to your camera ops. And I go home and I don't really have anything left. So part of what I do is I'm very big on training every morning, like working out. And it's not about the skinny jeans. It's about my brain, serotonin, endorphins. I need all of that good stuff every day. And it's time that it's for me. Like, this is very much me time. I'm big on reading in the evenings. I've always got a book on the go. I read many, many, many books every year. Um, and yeah, I prioritize my quiet time because I like to go hard, whether I'm working hard, resting hard, or playing hard. And trust me, I like to play. Like, I nourish the playfulness in me. I go out with my girlfriends. I laugh a lot. I watch comedies with my daughter. Like, I'm very much about being intentional about bringing that joy into my life because that's part of my self care.
How many more times can I say I love what you're saying? Like I need like a different phrase to respond to it with. But it breaks my heart when I hear people say I don't want to rest, or I don't feel productive. I need to be working on this. That person is so far ahead. You are not going to get anywhere in life in any of those facets unless you're taking care of yourself. However, you did glaze through your morning routine, which, by the way, have I researched it? Yes. I don't know how you do all of these things. You coffee, you work out, you meditate. First of all, the only thoughts I sit with in the morning are that of negativity and disgust. So I don't know how you're doing that. You go to work, you come home, you mom, plus you have a whole ass social media channel. Like, you are everywhere. I literally do an eighth of those things and I find 3 gray hairs a month. Like, it's just not a good time. How are you balancing being Superwoman? Then that's a real question. How do you do it all?
Yeah, there's definitely no balance. So what I found is this weekend I realized, like, oh, this is the second week in a row that I haven't done laundry, and like no one has underwear, no one had socks. So what I find is things get okay, so I had to reconcile myself with, okay, if I want to play hard and work hard and rest hard, sometimes the house is going to be messy. Things I'm not going to have the right groceries that I need. I didn't get the kids' permission forms in on time. Like, there's some stuff I'm just not on top of, and I don't care. In the back of my mind, I'm like, these are bad things, but they're not the worst because I did get to rest. I did the Christmas decorations, and then I sat there and sipped wine and like giggled with my daughter as we watched like Love Is Blind. So sorry, laundry, like it doesn't get done. So things don't get done in my life, and I have managed to make peace with that. Those are not the things that I am prioritizing. I don't go and get my nails done anymore. I do these press-ons from Walmart. Like,
Love
I'm not
those.
waxing my eyebrows anymore. I have this like thing I got on Amazon to take away the hair. Like, I'm taking stuff out so I can literally do more of what I want. And sometimes what I want is just sitting on my couch in front of the fireplace, or going out with my girlfriends, or having a meal with my husband. So things have fallen off, and that's the only reason why I can do the things that I want to do. I want to work out every day. I want to meditate every day. I want to have dinner dates with my girlfriends on every Friday. I want to go to the occasional party with my girlfriends. I want to see my parents every weekend. So I will make room for all that stuff. And then the other things just don't. Like, I don't have the right food in my fridge right now to make anything that I want to make. Like, not even one thing. And that's okay. If I have an hour today, I'll go to the grocery store, but that's how I make it work. There's definitely no balance. Things win, things lose.
I think, first of all, you are not alone on the lunch front. I had a whole mortadella sandwich and I called it lunch. So you are not alone on the empty fridge situation, although the only person I'm feeding is my dog. So I imagine it's much more stressful for you. Um, but it's so true. I think we're raised being told this whole, especially for women, this concept of you can have it all, like you can do it all. And the reality is, if we keep putting pressure on ourselves to be able to do it all, you end up feeling horrible when certain things fall off. I'm the exact same. Like, I find certain routines, like maybe I'm not wearing my makeup, which is something that makes me feel great, kind of falls off when I'm super busy. Or maybe I'm not hanging out with my girlfriends as much when I'm super busy. And those are things that you end up, or at least I do, sometimes carrying guilt for, especially in those busy periods. But detaching that sense of guilt and being like, listen, I've got a list of 15 things to do. Here are the 10 that are most important to me. And for this week, that's enough. Just giving yourself that grace is so important, and knowing that prioritization sometimes doesn't mean it all gets done. It means the most important pieces get done. Tracy, I cannot thank you enough. Before we wrap up, tell the people where they can find you on the internets, because I know they're going to want a heavy dose of you after they listen.
Find me on Instagram at the Tracy Moore. I am so bad at keeping up with my TikTok, but I'm at the Tracy Moore there too. Am I? Yeah, I'm at the Tracy Moore on
I think
TikTok
so.
as well. Yeah. So yeah,
Amazing. If we need to fact check, we'll check my mom. I know she's on it. That woman, she may as well be your personal assistant. Laura's in the back, like, yep, this is Tracy's social insurance number. Anyone? Kidding, Laura, if you're listening, love you, girl. Tracy, thank you so much. It was so much fun hanging out with you. Truly, truly cannot thank
that
you
was a
enough.
great chat, Emily. Thank you so much. And please tell your mom I love her right back. Like, I have this thing for moms. I just think we carry like the world on our shoulders. So I love your mom without even having met her. And plus, she created you. So tell her I say hi.